Hi, welcome to Python for Absolute Beginners Part 4. So this series is brought to you by Skills Zakhira by Dr. Sadaf Zishan. In today's lecture, we are going to see conditions in Python. We are going to understand if-else loop and how it works. If-else condition and how it works. So moving on. So what is if-else? So if if-else helps us to make a decision in a program, it lets you to choose between two or more paths on conditions. So for example, if it's raining, so I need to take an umbrella, else I need to enjoy the sunshine. So here I have two options. The first condition is if it's raining, I will use an umbrella. And the second condition is if it's not raining, I'm going to enjoy the sunshine. So if else is basically used to make a decision. So we're going to look at an example. So if condition code block if the condition is true, else code block if the condition is false. So we can see that in the first example, I'm going to put an age which is equal to 19. And if the age is greater than and equal to 18, I'm going to print please vote. Else I'm going to print cannot vote. So here we are using a condition to only allow people greater than 18 to vote. Else we are going to print you're not allowed to vote or cannot vote. So please note one thing here in Python, colon tells the interpreter, hey, I'm about to start a block of code. So colon here means start of the if or else block. So after if, I'm going to give a condition and I'm going to make sure that I put a colon over here. Similarly, after else also, I'm going to put a colon. Please also note that if block is indented. Press tab for indent. So you need to press an indent for the code to continue. So if you do not put an indent, then what will happen is it will give an indentation error, as you can see over here. So I've written the same code, but since I have not written print in indent, so what it does is it gives an error. So make sure that if when you're using an if condition, the command that follows is going to be indent. And the way to get an indent is just to press your tab button. So sometimes we need to enter a value. For example, every time the user will not have the same age and we want this code to be used by multiple users. So I need a command which is going to help me input my data. So I want to make age equal to, and I'm going to put in to input a value. I'm going to start with integer. So int is for integer. So I can use, since age is not a decimal number, either you're 18 or 19. So I'm going to use an integer int. Then I'm going to use brackets. I'm going to put input, then again brackets, and I'm going to write a string, enter age, and then I'm going to ask it to mention the value of your age. So in the console, it is going to display something like enter age, and it is going to show me a block where I'm supposed to enter or input my age. So if age is greater than 18, greater than or equal to 18, then I can vote, else I cannot vote. So when I enter and when I put in an input command, you see it is going to ask me for input. Every time we use an input command, there's going to be a display in the console which is going to ask for the input value. So in this case, you can see it is asking for enter age, an input value. And let's suppose if I enter the value 20, it will automatically execute the entire code and will display can vote as the condition is, the first condition is met, which is age is greater than equal to 18. So you can modify the above code to use the input command. Input will ask the age from the user. Every time you use an input command, it will ask you to enter a value. And you can use integer is used here, but in other cases, you can also replace this with a float. and then the entire code will be run based on the conditions that you've entered. Now, sometimes we have more than one choices. Now, in the previous example, we saw you only had two choices. Either you can vote or you cannot vote. But sometimes we have multiple choices. For example, in a grading system, if you have marks 50 or less than 50, maybe you need to try again. If you have 50 or greater than 50, it's not bad. If you have marks greater than equal to 68, then your grade is good. And you have marks greater than equal to 85, then you've done an excellent job. So you can see here we have four conditions. Less than 50, you need to keep trying. If you have greater than equal to 50, not bad. Then this is going to be replaced by another condition, greater than equal to 68, very good. And then marks greater than equal to 85, you have excellent. So we have four conditions here, which is more than two. In that case, what we do is, after writing the if condition, we write colon, and instead of else, we write else if, the short of which is elif. So we write elif, E-L-I-F, which is short of else if. So we keep on writing elif till we reach the last condition, and the last condition we use else. So if we have multiple conditions, we are going to start with if, and then we are going to write elif till we have the last condition, and then we're going to use else. So the marks that I've entered here is 75, and you can see that 75 is less than 85, but more than 68, so it is going to display very good. Similarly, we can also replace marks with an input command where it is going to ask me for marks every time. So if I say marks, integer, brackets, input, brackets, double quote, start, enter marks, colon, double quote. So it is going to, first of all, ask me for marks, enter marks. And if I, let's suppose I've entered 55 here. So this falls in the category of not bad, and it is going to display not bad. So we can see for multiple conditions, we can use elif, and we can also use an input command to ask us to enter the value. So we can also compare strings. So for example, I have a password, which is skill Zakhira, skill underscore Zakhira actually. So if my password is equal to skill Zakhira, that is, if my password is exactly same as skill Zakhira, the condition becomes true, and then we are going to print access granted. Else, if we are going to print access denied. So since I have written the password equal to skill Zakhira, this condition is true, so access will be granted. Again, I can replace the first command by an input in which the computer, the code will first ask me, the program will first ask me to enter my password. And if my password does not match with the actual password, then the access will not be granted. Just like a string comparison, I can also do a number comparison. For example, in the first case, I have a number 7. If my number, now this symbol percentage 2 means the modulus of 2. So if the number is not a mod of if the number is a modulus is equal to 0, so that means this is an even number. So for those of you who do not know, so when we divide a number with 2 and we get a remainder equal to 0, that means this modulus is 0. So if my modulus of 2 is equal to 0, it is an even number, else it is an odd number. Now 7 when divided by 2 does not equal to 0. The modulus is not, the remainder is not 0. The modulus is not 0. So this is an odd number. Similarly, we have other operators over here, greater than, less than, equal to, or greater than equal to can be used. And we can use F strings for a better display of the output also, as we have learned earlier. So let's look at the other example where the modulus is an even number. And the third example, where A is equal to 2, B is equal to 5. So if A is greater than B, so I can print using an F string that the variable A is greater than the variable B. Now, every time the value is going to vary, and this display will be based on the value of the variable. So in this case, A and B is going to be replaced by the value that we have used. So if A is greater than B, this is going to be printed, else it is going to print F, B is greater than A. So since the else condition is true here, so it is going to display 5, which is the replacement of variable B, is greater than 2, which is the replacement of variable A. So what did we learn today? We learned how to use an if-else condition where we have two conditions. We can use an else-if condition. And if we have multiple conditions, more than two conditions, we can use elif for multiple conditions. We can directly assign a value to a variable, or we can use an input command to help us enter a value first, which is it is going to ask for a value first, and then we can execute the code. And the comparison can be done both in string and in number. And it's the testing time, and you can pause the video for trying this code out and then look at the answer, or you can just solve along with us. Write a Python program that asks the user to enter any number. The program should check whether the number is positive, negative, or 0, and print an appropriate message. Use if, elif, and else statement to solve this problem. So you see, we have three conditions, so we can use elif command here. So here is the sample answer. So I can assign a variable number equal to float for an input and enter a number. It is going to ask me for a number, and I've entered 12. So if the number is greater than 0, it is going to print number is positive. If the number is less than 0, it is going to say number is negative, else number is 0. Since I've entered 12, it is going to enter number is positive. So if you've understood this and done this on your own, and you've actually given it a try, I want to congratulate you. You've done a fabulous job. Keep practicing. Up next, we have loops. Loops are used to repeat a block of code multiple times without writing it again and again. So to learn more, like and subscribe and stay tuned for more updates.